In 1989, Georgia alternative band the B52s had already seen a decade of ups and downs. I mean, they lost their guitarist Ricky Wilson to an age-related illness in '85. By that time, the band had been in decline for years. But with the album Cosmic Thing, everything changed. Next up, the story of the band's big comeback with Love Shack from co-founder Cindy Wilson. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. Make sure that you subscribe below right now to this channel to get our daily content, interviews, and videos on the history of rock. Visit us on Patreon also for weekly surprises and insider info, and you can pick up your own Professor of Rock hoodie at the merch link below, just like this one. Now the B52s burst onto the scene in the late 70s to much fanfare for their thrift shop aesthetic, if you will. You know, it was quiche and camp from the 50s and 60s, a completely fresh approach to pop and rock that just fired up the outcasts and misfits just like me. The band scorched the mainstream with songs like My Own Private Idaho and Rock Lobster, Dance This Mess Around, with interplay between quirky lead singer Fred Schneider, the great Fred Schneider, and the perfectly strange and hypnotic vocals of Cindy Wilson and Kate Pearson, and the unusual guitar tunings of Ricky Wilson. I mean, this band created a trademark sound that many copied, but none could ever equal. As the B52s made their way through the blockbuster 80s, they had a few singles enter the Hot 100, but they never completely crossed over. In 1985, the band performed in Brazil at Rock in Rio, and it was their biggest crowd ever, and they felt the momentum beginning to build, but yet they struggled to write new material at that point. And the band members were all very close. They all lived together in a house, and that closeness, though, seemed to work against them when writing as a cohesive band unit. So they began to write separately. Around this time, guitarist Ricky Wilson had been suffering from AIDS. None of the other band members were actually aware of his diagnosis, except for drummer Keith Strickland, because he didn't want anyone to worry about him, especially not his sister Cindy. Ricky would succumb to an AIDS-related disease on October 12, 1985. He was only 32, and what a loss. What a great guitarist. When the band got back together to work on a new record, drummer Keith Strickland showed them that he had learned to play in Ricky's unique style, and he became the permanent guitarist from that point going forward. Now, the band's next record was released in '86, and it was called Bouncing Off the Satellites. And it was more of a mashup of their solo efforts because they weren't really writing together cohesively. And it failed to make a long-term impact due to the devastating loss of Ricky. And of course, the band didn't promote or tour behind the album. It was a tough time. After a hiatus, though, the band regrouped and they found their creative spark once again. And they composed the songs that would become Cosmic Thing. Cosmic Thing, definitely one of the greatest comebacks for any band in the 80s. Armed with two top 3 singles, Love Shack and Rome, Cosmic Thing went 4 times platinum, and they reestablished the band as the champions of modern new wave, especially with Love Shack. I mean, not only did it become the band's signature song, it's become a legendary party and karaoke song. I was so fortunate to talk about this particular song extensively with co-founder, co-lead vocalist Cindy Wilson in a long-ranging interview recently. Now, here is the story behind this legendary modern rock party standard. As we go into this interview with Cindy, I do want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear. Man, the glasses that I wear 24/7, you can't go wrong with Zenni. You can go do a virtual 3D try-on at Zenni.com right now. Design your own pair for less than the cost of a vinyl record. Make sure you do that. Here is Cindy Wilson with the story of Love Shack. Love Shack, such a huge song. I mean, it's one of the biggest wedding songs of all time. One of the biggest karaoke songs of all time.
Yeah, because people can stand up with a bunch of people and do it.
And just do it. Such a smash hit. Went to number 3 on the pop charts, and it stayed on the charts for so long. It was your first top 40 hit, which is crazy.
It was crazy. And it's not something predictable.
No.
It's a song that's stands everything on top of its head.
It does.
There's no rhyme and reason that it could be a hit.
I know. And it was named the best single by Rolling Stone for 1989, and it's been in the top 500.
But it was a fun song. We had we had a great time doing it, you know.
Well, from the first drum beat, you know exactly what it is. And then, of course, I love the opening of it because breaking it down, you got Fred, he says his thing, and then he says 15 miles, and then you come in with the Love Shack.
Yeah, yeah. It comes from the jamming that we did in Wall Street area.
Yeah.
Yeah, that little hole in the wall, you know. And we were just, it's amazing. A huge chunk of the jam came out of it, were added. I mean, it was a even longer song than it is now, which we had to cut it down. But yeah, we borrowed a lot from the jamming.
Well, and I read that Don is the producer. One of the lines, Love Shack's a little old place, that was only said once in the original, and then he wanted to come back to it a few times because he knew it was such a great hook.
You know your stuff, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that was a wise decision, you know.
Yeah.
Usually I hate when producers change things because you bring in your baby,
Yeah.
you know, and then at the end, it doesn't quite sound the same.
It doesn't, the magic that was there.
But it was interesting, you know, that they almost lost a large portion of the recorded. There was a freak lightning storm in Manhattan, and the whole thing went down while they were recording it or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
Or they were playback. Anyway, but everything was saved.
Yeah.
Thank God.
It was meant to be. Well, I mean, and it's also such a great video too. I mean, you guys look like you're having so much fun, not only in the video, but in the song. You can hear it. Even if there never was a music video to go with that, just hearing you guys on that song, there's so much joy.
Well, the
in
thing
that
is,
song.
that was one of my favorite things to do is to write, get everybody together, and it's a lot of work. We take it's very laborious because there's so much filtering you have to do.
Oh yeah.
And picking out and structuring it just right, you know.
Yeah.
And trying to make sense of things. But yeah, it's amazing.
What's great about the song is there isn't just like one cool part. There are so many pieces of that song that are part of the lexicon today. You know, when you guys' harmonies on "Looking for the Love Getaway," I love that harmony on that part that you guys do.
Well, we always did really crazy harmonies, you know.
Yeah.
And that's happens when playing it back and listening to it, because sometimes, you know, we weave in and out. Kate and I did weave in and out of these vocalese type things, and would hit on accidental, happy accidents, and sometimes we had a lot of good harmony moments that way.
And it's cool because you guys, your harmonies are so gelled. I mean, you sound like sisters, but then your voices separately are so distinct.
Yeah, it's when you're singing together in unison, it's really important to try to sing as one.
And then, of course, I got me a Chrysler, seats about 20.
I got me a Chrysler, and seats about 20.
Hurry up and bring your jukebox money. I mean, that's such a classic line. And
Fred is amazing.
he is.
Hurry up and bring your jukebox money.
He's
So playful. Well, he's a poet.
He is.
He's a poet. You know, he actually put out a poetry book, you know. Did you know about that? Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The poet laureate of new wave music, man. He's so great. The chorus harmony, you guys coming together, and then the guitar parts are so funky. There's a lot of R&B there. I mean, you can tell that you guys are definitely influenced by the Motown sound and Ike and Tina Turner. The other part is the horns, Uptown horns. They played also on Tom Waits' album.
That's so cool. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they played on Rain Dogs.
May off the bed forevermore.
And,
Dave passed a long time ago, but we had them for a couple of tours, and it was so much fun. It really added.
the imagery even in that song, Glitter on the Mattress.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all these stories about, it was partly inspired by the juke joint out of Color Purple.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but tell me a little bit about those things?
Well, yeah, like you said, it is like a painting of sorts where you're creating little paintings of scenes, you know. And Tin Roof Rusted was painting a scene,
Oh, yeah.
you know, of a country, you know, hoedown sort of, or a soul club. It was elements of what was going on around the time, the culture. There was Soul Train, which we used the Soul Train line in the Love Track thing, which is where RuPaul prances down, as well as different people had their time.
Everybody's grooving, baby. Funky little shot. Funky little shot.
That was wonderful.
Yeah.
That was a great element to have. But yeah, it was. I loved part of the writing process is using words as paints, and your voice is and harmonies can make you feel a certain way. Vibrations.
Yeah.
You know, and just kind of cosmic images and just fun stuff, you know.
Well, that song isn't only just a great jam, so much joy in that song. You just feel happy. You never get tired of that song because you're driving down the road and having a horrible day. That song comes on. It's different after that.
Yeah, I think that's why the B52s will be able to play as long as we want. You know,
No
it's
question.
because people come and to the show and have a good time.
Adam Bernstein, of course, directed the video, and he did Sir Mix-a-Lot, and he actually did some episodes of Breaking Bad as well.
Run.
Yeah, isn't that kooky?
That's crazy. But what do you remember about the video? Any story that you can tell us that was cool?
It was an easy shoot. It was a fun shoot. And we had a glorious, sunny upstate New York day. And we had like convertibles, you know, Plymouth Satellite, you know, or, you know, large cars, you know, and we had a lot of extras that were our friends and actors we hired to be in the party scene. So it was very festive.
Won the MTV Video Music Award.
Thanks to all our fans, old and new, and thanks to Philip and Scott who live in the Love Shack.
And then Simpsons did a little take on it, right? The glove slap.
Glove slap, baby, glove slap. Glove slap.
God love them. You know?
I know. Isn't that great? And then Glee, of course, did it. And I always read that there were some adult video stores that copped the title after that, Love Shack.
Yeah, we tried to get a T-shirt from them, but they didn't have T-shirts. It would have been fun.
No
you know,
kidding.
with dildos or something.
I know. Well, Tin Roof Rusted.
You're what?
It's the most famous line from that when he stops.
Debatable.
And as a kid, I always thought you were saying, Henry. I don't know why.
A lot of people did.
Right? And then, of course,
Yeah.
I got the lyrics and looked at it when I bought
Yeah,
the album.
there's a lot of legend about.
Oh, I know.
What is she saying, man?
Like, that means
Okay, that girl was
pregnant and-
pregnant. That girl was I don't know, but anyway.
I read
And so
the story.
I never did tell people quite until, you know, later on. But
Well,
yeah.
I read this story on some random site a few years ago, and I always wondered if this guy was making it up. There's this guy, he's from India, and he said that he spent Thanksgiving with you guys when you were making the album, and that the table was all set and everything, and then it was raining really hard, and rain started to come out of this place onto the food, and then he went up and looked at the roof and fixed it, put his shirt on it, and then came back down and said, "Tin Roof Rusted," or something like that. Or
That's interesting.
I know.
That didn't happen.
Okay. All right. I was going to say,
that's an interesting
that's got to
story.
be either totally made up because it's so
Love it.
detailed.
See,
It was like,
but you know what?
this
It's
guy.
so interesting.
Yeah, but that's what's great about the urban legends of songs,
I love
right?
that. Yeah. So, and the B52s never really quite like to explain our songs.
No.
Because we want people
The wonder.
to wonder and build their own
Meaning from it, right?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching. Leave us a comment about the B52s in this modern day party standard below. I love this song. What are your memories of the song and this album from the late 80s? To hear the song, you can click on the playlist below to do that. To get a copy of this classic album, which you'll want to do, especially on vinyl, click on the Amazon links below. We do invite you to subscribe right now. Be a part of our community of music celebration. Also, check us out on Patreon to help us keep the music alive. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends. Stay safe.